Let's talk about stem cells. Doctor, you mentioned stem cells earlier. Where are we in terms of research and in terms of what the potential of stem cells are, and how close are we to maybe seeing the potential?
You know, that's a riddle for everybody. Because when you work in this field, you know there's only really one type of stem cells that will go into your body, that will regenerate organ systems, that will replace some of the cells with longer telomere length cells, and going actually beyond the maximum human lifespan, right? It's about 110 to 120 right now. And those are NTSCs, like nuclear transfer stem cells. And they're relatively, the approach is relatively simple to make them. And the different stem cells that we have adult stem cells, you hear a lot about that. I mean, they get some really good results by using adult stem cells. There's a method where doctors draw some adipose tissue, fat tissue from your body. They eliminate most of the fat and use that again as an injection in the face subdermally and get absolutely magnificent results. I mean, the before and after pictures, you can see them on our website. They're really very impressive. But it's not the 100% regeneration that you will get with real effective NT stem cells, right? We have then IPS, induced pluripotent stem cells. Well, induced pluripotent stem cells was a method developed by a Japanese professor, Yamanaka. And in essence, if you take a regular cells from your body, skin cells, doesn't matter which ones, and now you take 4 retroviruses, each with a control gene attached to it, and you put them into your skin cells, then they will behave like stem cells, right? Well, that sounds really good, and maybe you can avoid religious arguments with that. But I'm a laboratory guy. I know what can be done in the laboratory, right? Well, I mean, I had the fastest PhD in the state of New York as a foreign student at that time, right? Because I know laboratory work, right? And already at that time, I told them, no good for stem cells. And in the meantime, we find tumor risks, cancer risks, genetic aberration, and even rejection. If you do it in an animal model, you make the induced pluripotent stem cells, you put the stem cells back into the body of that animal, it says, I don't know you, kill it, right? Rejection mechanism, right? So we have general adult, we have the IPS, we have generic stem cells. In Europe, it's actually a routine treatment. They get the stem cells from different areas. Some of them come from Russia. Also, as a doctor friend of mine, Dr. Friedrichsen in Tübingen University tells me, they're getting from a Scottish university and from Israel. They get the best stem cells. I mean, good quality, a real good high count as promised, and so on and so on. Yes, they will actually stimulate your immune system. They will make you feel a little bit better. And there is a general improvement. But it is nothing compared to the real stem cells that have your DNA, long telomeres, and when they're put into your body, they will roll over cancer, heart disease, like anything. Well, when I had my injury, and recognized that I wasn't as indestructible as I always was. You know, I always thought I was. I mean, heck, you know, Air Force, jet pilot, you know, horseback riding, you know, military police. I'm actually still in a reserve in a police unit, you know. I mean, you get some self-confidence, hey, I can handle everything. But when this stuff happens, boy, what a difference. I mean, it shakes you up. But anyway, that's when I put every penny I ever had, I put it into our laboratory, in a stem cell laboratory. And what we are aiming at, making person-specific stem cells via a technique that's known as a nuclear transfer. We use a donated female egg cell, which is a joke in itself, because 4 of them cost $10,000. So it's nothing about donating, right? Now, I remove under a very fancy microscope, and again, at our website, you can actually see the equipment, the microscopes that we're using, right? anti-aging forme, FORME.com. You go to the stem cell section. On a very fancy microscope, I remove the nucleus from this egg cell. Then I take a nucleus from one of your skin cells or any other cell. Skin cells, it just works very well. I put it into that cell, and now I start triggering this cell to start dividing, mitosis. Well, that's a little bit difficult. As a matter of fact, at the present time, when they're doing this, they're putting this the cell where the nuclei had been transferred, they're putting it into an electrical field, and they're giving it a little electroshock. But guess what? Only 1 out of 50 to 1 out of 70 take. Now, with 4 cells costing $10,000 and only 1 out of 70 work, I mean, you're in a financial hole, you wouldn't believe it, right? So, anyway, but the key thing here is, once you get it to divide, mitosis, on day number 4, that's known as the blastocyst stage. And the blastocyst stage has in the cell a small sac in there that has stem cells. Now again, under a fancy microscope, all computerized, right? We remove the stem cells, we culture them separately, and then given to the patient. And again, that's just for that one person, right? Because we make them for one specific person. They will roll over cancer, heart disease, like everything. And that's the future. There's no question about it. Right? And then you get a complex when you do that, because you apply for grants. This is the best research ever. This is the best, blah, blah, blah. I hired 2 professional writers, right, for grants. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Until I finally talked to a friend of mine at Harvard University, an MD, a very well-known gentleman. Oh, Hans, I wrote 18 applications. I didn't get a penny. Don't take it personal. And that brings us back to the same thing. Why is nobody trying to get real results? Well, obviously, if we had stem cells today, these real stem cells, 95% of all drugs would become worthless overnight, right? So naturally, the drug industry works on iPS-induced pluripotent stem cells. Oh yeah, we're working it, we get some good results. And it will be a few more years until, and in the meantime, ha, 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 bring us your money and, you know. It's just amazing what's going on in the health field. I mean, logic is totally missing